Hello, 8th level. Hope you're doing well today. So in Wednesday's activities, you had the opportunity to really reflect about what freedom is. So we see that our new freed people, the new freed slaves, finally get to tackle that idea of freedom. Some of them are thinking about names, some of them are thinking about occupations. You had some readings to do. I know a few of you reached out to me, talked about how difficult the readings were, and that's because those are things that are written in the 1860s. So some of the vernacular, some of the language is different, some of the spelling is different. So just keep that in mind as you're doing some of the readings. Today we're going to take a different look. We're going to look at the first parts of Reconstruction. Specifically, we're going to look at the Reconstruction Act of 1867. So this is an act really that first takes effect in the South, but then through a series of constitutional amendments, it really takes effect throughout all of the United States. And what it does is it gives first the newly freed blacks, but then all blacks, equal rights and equal protection throughout the United States, where they are seen as equal to the whites. They're not to be discriminated against. They're given, well, the men are given the right to vote. Women, sorry, you don't get that right to vote until 1920. But they are given that notion of equality where they can do the same thing. They are actually elected to offices. Some serve in the United States Senate, in the United States Congress, in the state congresses. They serve on local school boards. They're elected as sheriffs. They're elected to local offices in their towns and cities. So they do get lots of rights. They start asking for new school systems to be built, using local taxes to build those. So you're going to see, we're going to watch a Facing History video, and you're going to see how they get all of these rights established, and then they really start forming partnerships with some of the poor whites. So if you think back to some of the things we've learned, yes, there are large plantations in the South, and those large plantations are owned by the rich whites, some of them not so rich anymore after the war, but they are owned by rich whites. But there's also a lot of poor whites, and they kind of partner up with the poor whites. They form allegiances with them. But then some of the richer people are really not so sure about this. Some of the things that they're planning are starting to cost them some money. So this goodwill doesn't last as long as they'd like. But it's called a radical reconstruction. So here's what you're going to do today. You are going to watch the video from Facing History. There's an exit ticket based on the video. Then there are some questions you're going to watch. Then I'm going to post a couple of readings. They're not real long. One's on a carpetbagger. One's on the school systems. You're going to read a couple of these readings. One's on the South Carolina legislature. They're really short. And then what I want you to do is to compose either 3 newspaper articles or 3 tweets. So a newspaper article, a good newspaper article is less than 12 words, but you need to grab the reader's attention. Or you can do tweets based on what you've read on that, okay? So kind of like an analysis of the different articles. You can combine the articles. You can do 1 headline or 1 tweet for each article. I'll leave that up to you. So either 3 headlines or 3 tweets. A tweet can have 280 characters. And I'll put some more directions up on Classroom. So you are going to watch the Facing History video. You are going to do an exit ticket on the Facing History video. It's got some really good information on the video. I think you'll enjoy it. There are some questions to answer, Facing History questions on the video. And then I'm going to put up 3 articles I want you to read. They're short, they're not long, they're not even a page long. They're not primary sources, so not all of them are primary sources, so they shouldn't be too difficult to read. And then you're either going to compose 3 newspaper headlines or 3 tweets about the articles that you've read. On a side note, which is totally different than this assignment, Also posted on the social studies classroom is some information on nominating the Solo Deo Gloria nominees. You can nominate too, so Miss Michelle has a Loom video for you to watch about that. And in case you haven't seen it yet, on the GOP classroom, I posted information about what your presentation should look like, and I went through the rubric. So the rubric is there, I explain the rubric and talk about the presentation. So if you have not seen either of those videos yet, please be sure to watch them. Also, don't forget that Monday's class is live, and I will post on Classroom what time each class is meeting. So any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you Monday at our live class. Have a great weekend.